Melissa, if you would please brief the bill.
Certainly, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Melissa Van Gorkum, staff to the committee. Before you is House Bill 1695 relating to defining affordable housing for the purpose of using surplus property for public benefit. By way of background, any state or local agency with authority to dispose of surplus property must transfer property to any public, or may transfer property to any public, private, or non-governmental body on terms agreeable to the parties. This includes the no-cost transfer if the property is used for public benefit, and the deed, lease, or other instrument transferring or conveying the property includes a requirement that the property be used for a designated public benefit, as well as remedies if the property is not used for that designated purpose. The bill before you updates the definition of public benefit to include affordable housing, which can be rental or permanently affordable home ownership, and defines affordable housing as 30% of the household's monthly income for rent and utilities other than telephone, if it's a rental house, or for permanently affordable home ownership, 38% of the household's monthly income for mortgage, principal, interest, property taxes, homeowners insurance, homeowners association fees, and land lease fees as applicable, and no more than 45% of the monthly household income in total household debt. A fiscal note was not requested. The committee heard and passed the companion Senate Bill 5674. This bill passed the House 97-0, and that concludes my remarks unless there are any questions.
Any questions for staff? Not seeing any. Well, welcome, Representative Alvarado.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair Cooter, members of the committee. For the record, I'm Emily Alvarado, representative in the 34th Legislative District, and pleased to present this bill to you today. As you all know, Washington working families are increasingly finding it hard to be able to buy their first home. In King County, where I live, the median home price is well over $700,000. And that makes it nearly impossible for working people like home care aides and preschool teachers, mental health counselors, and people who don't have access to generational wealth to be able to buy their first home. And that's why we need more permanently affordable homeownership. What this bill will do is make a simple technical fix that'll explicitly authorize that surplus public property can be used at no cost for permanently affordable homeownership. It builds off existing law that already allows those transfers for rental housing, and it gives another tool for our communities to be able to create more and develop more permanently affordable homes in our neighborhoods. Permanently affordable homeownership is very unique. It allows families to get the access to equity, to be able to collateralize against their home, to be able to build those long-term connections with communities, but it balances that equity with community sustainability, ensuring that the home is affordable for generations to come. I'm a former city housing director, and I've seen firsthand how using public land for affordable housing can be transformational for communities. And I hope that we can all together take this small step to make sure that public land can be available for permanently affordable homeownership as well. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Senator Wilson has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for bringing this bill forward. Just something you said, I had just to clarify, you said used at no cost. Mm-hmm. Help me out with that, please.
Sure. So under this law and under existing law already, a government entity can make an agreement on agreed upon terms to transfer property for public benefit. One of those terms could be that it's no cost, or it could be an agreed upon price. So the land would be transferred at no cost, but obviously then it would be developed for affordable homeownership, and those homes would be sold at an affordable price, not at no cost to homeowners.
Okay, any other questions? I'm not seeing any. We're going to suspend the public hearing. 1395, that was Representative Alvarado's bill defining affordable home housing. And Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We just have two testifiers today, Kathleen Hosfeld and Nick Federici, on this good little bill.
Go ahead, Nick.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Nick Federici here with the Northwest Community Land Trust Coalition. urging you to support this legislation. It's the House version of a bill that you heard from Senator Frame earlier in session. This is really a technical fix bill. Several years ago, surplus property from public entities was allowed to be donated to nonprofit organizations for rental housing to be able to lower the cost of affordable housing for nonprofits to develop for low-income residents. This bill just applies the same rules to homeownership situations where organizations like Community Land Trusts and others who do homeownership opportunities for low-income persons and families are able to provide that lower cost option for homeownership. You're doing a number of things this year, hopefully, for affordable housing. We see this as one additional small piece of that that you can help accomplish with this technical fix bill to expand those opportunities for homeownership for low-income persons by lowering the cost of land to develop those properties on. So we urge your support and are deeply grateful to both Representative Alvarado for sponsoring this legislation, which passed the House unanimously, as well as to Senator Frame for sponsoring the Senate companion. Urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Thanks. Let's go to Kathleen.
Thank you so much. I am Kathleen Hosfeld, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Washington State members of the Northwest Community Land Trust Coalition, and I'm grateful to be back to speak in support of House Bill 1695, which, as mentioned, is just a technical fix to previously passed legislation that will open a new resource for building affordable home ownership in Washington State. Thanks to the eloquent sponsorship of the bill by Representative Alvarado and then the introduction of the bill by Senator Frame and overwhelming support from our community as this bill has passed unanimously out of the House. The single biggest barrier to increasing rates of home ownership in our state is the lack of supply of homes that are priced within reach of everyday people. I think we all want our adult children to be able to afford to move back into the communities where they were raised, and for employers to be able to attract employees with the promise of affordable housing in their communities. We want home ownership to be affordable and within reach of those historically shut out of ownership by discrimination. This requires that we address the supply side and build more affordably priced homes. Nonprofit developers build these homes that are priced for those shut out of the for-profit market, but many of our local communities don't have the revenue resources that can help these nonprofit builders address this supply crisis because other state-enabled resources don't work for home ownership. Assuring that home ownership is one of the public benefits for which surplus land can be used will give towns and communities across the state another tool to achieve their housing objectives and help them create communities where everyone can afford to live and thrive. I urge your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for this panel? Not seeing any. So with that, thank you very much. We're going to close the public hearing on